everybody. This is Annette Flores. I am the CEO and founder of Canna-Envy. I make cannabinoid-infused skin and beauty products as well as edibles. And here in today's video, I am making some bacon jalapeno cheddar biscuits. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm adding some self-rising flour and yogurt. Those are literally the only two needed ingredients to make your own homemade biscuits. But I am always extra. I'm always over the top. I always like to add flavors and things like that to my particular biscuits. So these are going to have a variety of different ingredients in them. So what I'm doing right now is I'm mixing my yogurt. I'm going to put 2 cups of yogurt into the 3 cups of flour that I already have in my bowl. You're probably going to need about 3.5 cups because you'll need to add a little bit at the very end. But there's 1 cup right there, and then I'm going to add the 2nd cup right here. Yeah, like I said, you'll probably need to reserve at least a half a cup extra, just in case your dough is a little sticky. Like I said, like to add a lot of different ingredients to my particular biscuits. So these are going to have a bunch of different flavors going on. So I'm just mixing a little bit, trying to mix the flour and the yogurt, just so it doesn't like fly around as I'm putting in all the other ingredients. But eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of here and I'll end up mixing it with my hands too. So now I'm going to add a cup of shredded cheese, and you can use any kind of shredded cheese you want. There's a 1/4 cup of jalapeños. You can add as many jalapeños as you want to. I don't want mine that spicy, so a 1/4 cup will work. But I do want it a little cheesy, so I'm going to add a cup of shredded cheese to mine. And like I said, you can use any flavor cheese that you like, whatever your preference is. I'm going to just throw that in, just like that. And then I'm going to add in some maple syrup. I love adding in some maple syrup to my biscuits just because it gives it a really nice sweet flavor. I don't have to add sugar or anything. And yeah, it just kind of sweetens the dough just a touch. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I did also use vanilla flavored yogurt. You can use plain yogurt if you like. I like to use vanilla. Here I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of garlic powder. Now I'm going to add some Italian seasoning. I'm making spaghetti tonight, and I think these will enhance my meal really nicely. These will be a nice side. And again, you can add as much or as little as you like. I like my things pretty flavorful, so I tend to add a little extra. Here's a cup of shredded bacon. I made this really crispy, and now I'm adding this to the mix as well. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of olive oil to this. But you're still going to need a little bit more. We're going to use the olive oil for your hands so they don't get sticky. I like to use olive oil instead of flour on my hands. And see, like I said, you only need a little teaspoon of that to add to the ingredients. And then just give it a little mix. But what I feel is best is just get right down in there with your hands. Like, there's nothing that beats like mixing it with your hands. And if I was making these to sell or to give to somebody else, of course I'd be wearing gloves, but these are for my own personal use. These are for my own dinner tonight. So my family doesn't care if I wear gloves or not. So I usually just like to mix it really well, kind of knead the dough a little bit, get it all incorporated, especially since you have some dry seasonings on top, and see how sticky my hands are. I'm going to go ahead and grab a handful of flour, kind of put that in there, give that a little mixy mix. And like I said, it's not a whole lot that I'm pinching out of the bag. It's just enough to cover the stickiness, but you'd probably need, like, I would say at least a quarter to a half cup extra. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to knead this out like this. I normally wear gloves just because I don't like the way that the dough gets between my fingers and under my nails and such and everything. But I don't care. These are for myself and it's okay. So now that your dough is all ready, I'm going to add a little bit more garlic on the outside of that. Mix that right in a little bit. My husband loves garlic everything. If he could have garlic peanut butter and jelly, he'd do that too. Now I'm just going to go and throw that back in its bowl and let that sit for right now. And then I'm going to clean my hands. And then we're going to make the biscuits and stuff. So just getting it kind of all in one little dough ball as such. Now that'll go in its glass bowl. And now we are going to use our olive oil again. As you can see, I had to clean my hands. They're nice and clean now. So now I'm going to put about a tablespoon, excuse me, about a tablespoon of olive oil in my hands, kind of work it all in, get it on both sides so your hands don't get sticky. And I personally like using the olive oil instead of flour because if you keep using flour, you're going to make your dough too dry. And by using olive oil, it kind of just keeps it a little moist there like that. And so once I kind of roll them out and knead them out a little bit like that, I kind of turn them and make these little pucks. But these are going to be really good sized biscuits just because I don't like small biscuits. I like good sizable biscuits when I have my dinner. And then what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to make a honey cinnamon butter, kind of that similar to what they sell at Texas Roadhouse. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Texas Roadhouse, but they make this amazing honey cinnamon butter for their biscuits. So I'm going to do that myself, but I'm just getting all these molded out. Now I'm going to put a little olive oil, a little seasoning into my olive oil, a little garlic, a little Italian herbs. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush this over the top of all our biscuits, just like that. And this will enhance the flavor very nicely. And then I'm going to bake the biscuits at 375 for 25 minutes. Okay, here they are. Oh my goodness, they smell amazing. They had my kitchen smelling so good. Look at that biscuit. That is a beautiful biscuit. It has got some nice substance to it. You can see a little bit of the bacon sticking out there, a little of the herbs on top. And now we're going to break one open, and there's all the little cheese bits inside. Oh, this looks absolutely amazing. My mouth is already watering. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our video. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.